Hello, I'm Dropjawed, and this is my glitchless glass farm. There are two sizes to this farm, one that uses 96 villagers and one that uses 192 villagers.
Okay, so editor's note. In this video, I'll say that there's two sizes to this farm, a 96 villager size and a 192 villager size. Turns out I can't count. The farm originally had that many villagers, but somewhere down the line I somehow added 12 more villagers to each row without realizing. This doesn't break the farm, if anything it makes it more lag proof because there's extra excess villagers. But yeah, anytime you hear me say that the farm has 96 or 192 villagers, it's really 120 villagers and 240 villagers, with 60 per row, not 48.
This farm utilizes the mod Itemscroller in order to semi-automatically trade with librarian villagers for glass. Before we begin, if you're planning on building this on a multiplayer server, check with the server owner whether Itemscroller is allowed on the server, as some servers disallow such mods. I should also note, since this apparently wasn't clear to the beta testers of the farm, please do not build the red squares at the bottom of the schematic. These are there to help you align the farm into chunks. And, as a final beginning note, this farm uses emeralds to run. The amount it consumes varies depending on whether the players on your server sleep or not. However, assuming night isn't skipped, the smaller version of this farm uses 6,048 emeralds per hour, which is equivalent to 10.5 stacks of emerald blocks, and gives 14 glass shulkers per hour in return. The bigger version of the farm uses 12,096 emeralds per hour, which is equivalent to 21 stacks of emerald blocks, and gives 28 glass shulkers per hour in return, exactly double the rates of the smaller version. The design in of itself manipulates the order the game handles GUIs. In short, we bind our right click, inventory button, Itemscroller's trade favorites keybind, and Itemscroller's dropple matching keybind all to the same key. Then we open the villager trade menu, trade with a villager for glass using the Itemscroller keybind, open our inventory to close out of the trade menu so we can open the next villager trade menu before closing our inventory again in order to keep the cycle going, all of which happens just by holding down a single key. After enough villagers have been traded with, glass will end up in the slot that the mouse automatically hovers over in the inventory when it is opened, activating the Itemscroller dropple matching keybind and thus emptying all the collected glass from the player's inventory. The glass is caught in a water stream and taken to a central collection system, where it is stored in shulker boxes. The design brings the player around a circuit of either 96 or 192 librarian villagers, while dispensing the exact amount of emeralds needed to complete all the required glass trades. It's important to note that the player does not trade with all the villagers on each row. There are 48 villagers on each row, and the player trades with 42 of those villagers. The extra 6 are there in the event a villager is skipped for some unforeseen reason, such as lag or server TPS issues. The farm locks itself at night since villagers can't restock during this time, and also locks itself after the villagers have restocked twice in a day, since villagers cannot restock more than twice a day. The farm then unlocks when a new day occurs and the cycle repeats. Depending on your server, you may have different villager limits. This design uses a limit of 12 villagers per chunk, since that's the limit on the server I built this for. Exceeding this limit is pointless, since the player still needs to travel the full distance of the water. However, if your limit is lower than 12, you'll need to modify the farm significantly to allow more space for more villager modules, while also moving the detection system for extra emerald droppers further down the water stream. Make sure you are not wearing depth strider boots, since this will break the farm. The farm is built to only let you trade twice per in-game day. This is to ensure villager prices do not increase. To check if the farm is built correctly, check if you are receiving 7 stacks and 56 emeralds from each dropper station. It is imperative you only start using the farm once a new in-game day has just started. Do not start the farm if there is not enough time in the day to complete 2 full cycles of the farm. If you find that the farm is locking while you're trying to run it, check this counter and ensure your 4 items are in this dropper before you start. Then ensure that this block is down, not up. If you find that it's up, even though it's the start of a new in-game day, press the manual day and night resetter.
It is important to watch all of this segment as there are different settings for different circumstances. Set glass to a universal trade favorite within Itemscroller. Unbind everything from your tab key. Bind inventory to tab. Bind use item/interact to tab. Open the Itemscroller config. In generic, packet rate limit off. In toggles, set enable drop key drop matching to true. In hotkeys, bind drop all matching to tab. In hotkeys, bind villager trade favorites to tab. While running the farm, ensure you're aiming at the villager's feet and use some kind of weight IRL to hold down your tab key. If you get 60 or more ping on the server you're playing on, or find that the villagers are not being traded with too often, try the following. Set your FPS limit to 40, open keyboard properties on your computer, and lower your repeat rate to around what is shown on screen. It is important to note that you turn this setting back up after you have stopped using the farm, as some servers may deem it as an unfair advantage in PvP. Modifying the design to use different villager trades is relatively straightforward. However, most trades are incompatible with this design, namely bottles of enchanting. Since this farm relies on an item to emerald ratio that's below 1 emerald for every item you get, anything that you pay multiple emeralds for in return for a single item cannot be supported by this design. However, something like farmer villagers for apples will work. All you need to do is change the villager modules to look like this, placing the villager inside a composter. And since the ratio of apples to emeralds is the same as glass to emeralds, no configuration needs to change within the farm. And that's really about it. This farm took around 3 years to actually make, so I'd really appreciate it if you dropped a like to help more people see this. I also have an obsidian farm design, however with the amount that there are out there, I'm hesitant to release it. However, if you'd like me to, let me know in the comments if you're interested. But for now, that's all from me. I hope you enjoy your new glass farm and good luck grinding.